Happy days, here we are again with myself, Paul Rees, on the amazing Lead Anywhere, of course, and you're here on Extreme Business Set Mind series. And this is, I think, is our 13th or 14th series in. I mean, we are getting tons of following, but these beautiful people are following us. They're sharing their minds, they are sharing their hearts. It's been such an amazing journey, and we are just kicking off here, people. Oh. This is just the start. I mean, you've not experienced anything yet. I mean, Lee is just warming up with his mind and what he can give. It's amazing. And this week I have a topic. Yes, 3-layer topic. We did one last week, and it was really it's successful for so many people, and we're going to do this week the same again. So here we go, and I want to introduce this in so we get the layering as to why I'm bringing it in. So this week it is 3 topics in one. We're going to start in this order. And why in this order? Because I believe people have got it all wrong. People have got the KPIs, key performance indicators, all wrong, because here's where we want to go. Key performing indicators into key performing people into key performing dreams. KPIs into KPPs into KPDs. Let's say that again. Key performing indicators into key performing people into key performing dreams. Do we even need KPIs? Are they used all wrong? I mean, KPIs for me, when I first heard them, were probably the most emotionally exhausting letters put together. If I ever say KPIs to my Deb, she goes, ugh, I don't even want to know what that means. I am not interested. Then I moved to key performing people. That made so much sense to me, because last week we talked about the networking and the importance of networking correctly, and how effectively people are networking inside out. This week, we want to look at the true story, the true process of KPIs into key performing people into key performing dreams, and how that plays out in your mind. How some people just actually stop at key performing indicators, and we could call it key performing emptiness before key performing indicators. Do you know what I mean? People are just key performing emptiness every day, doing the same thing. And that actually doesn't take you anywhere. I'm going to put that there. Key performing emptiness into key performing indicators. Let's just start there, Mr. Tannyware. What do you think?
Well, I do think KPIs are necessary, in a team environment. So and they're still necessary as an individual, self-employed, solo entrepreneur, but they definitely play a massive role in like with a team and in a company environment or a business environment when there's more than one of you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how do you track? So if you're not tracking it, if it's on the personal side rather than the professional side, as in how do we? I think. Key performance intentions, as in like, are your intentions performing?
Wow.
Like, So it's like, if you've got goals, and this could be just my the way people communicate about their goals, and I've heard countless people throughout the years talk about the goals, but they talk about their goals like the goals are the outcome, and the goals are a stepping stone to the outcome.
Okay.
Yeah, they talk about their goals like their goals are their intention, but their goals are the stepping stones to their intention.
Wow.
So when it comes back with, do you need them at all? Personally, no. That's me personally. Mm-hmm. Did I need them at some point? Yes. So it's a bit like, I think you practice. Yes. Yeah? So let me go with this one. Practice makes perfect. Some say perfect practice makes perfect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah. But I still think there's another one, and it's not me trying to compete, is I get it, and this is, I have to draw a curtain or a line down. We have to separate a couple of things, because if I say it without framing it first, They're going, that's wrong. That's wrong. I can't see how that happens. Sports is sports. Just got to hear that. Sports is sports. Yeah. So if you're a boxer, yeah, or if you're a footballer, yeah, if you're a marathon runner, whatever sports you're in, it's sports. That's first key part. Second key part, I've got to get my thought back. The second key part is a warrior is just that, a warrior.
Yeah.
Right. So in the arena, not the arena of life, because there is, even though that's just language, but we take our metaphors or our language or our antidotes and we create them into and make them into our life. And then we speak with these analogies. Yeah. So sports is sports. So the term goal comes from sports. So to have a goal, run with me on this, could be mine. Yeah, sorry, one of my dogs is just running. To have a goal, normally when there's a goal, there's a conflict.
Let me just hear that. To have a goal, normally there's a conflict.
In the sports world, a goal is a conflict. It means it's going to be, there's another goal. There's two opposing ends, the yin and yang. So when we use these analogies, if we don't actually use them the right way, we've actually created the tails to our life.
Where we thrown in the tower?
No, the tails, as in heads and tails. Yeah,
right, I get it. Yeah. Tails.
Or we've created an opposing team in our analogy. So in other words, we know it's going to be difficult because it's a goal. So when it comes back to why do we need them actually in the first place? Well, and like, if we get ourselves right, I don't think we need them. Because then when we choose, we're not choosing from a place of lack, drama to prove, convince, validate, or sometimes some go on a vendetta. So their goal is to succeed, not to succeed, but to prove somebody else wrong or put somebody else in their place. So I'll show them.
Wow, that's not a goal then, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not a goal. But well, I've got this goal, this goal, this goal. And then let's say it comes back to Simon Sinek. Let's say, well, why? Why have you got that goal? Well, I want to be successful. Why do you want to be successful? Well, I want to be successful to show my dad. I want to be successful to show my brother. I want to be successful to show Paul. Yeah, so you don't really want to be successful. You want to be a warrior and beat Paul.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, wow. So if we ain't got ourselves in order, then we've actually, by having the goal, we've got our enemy. We've got the opposing team. It's Paul. I'm going to do this because I want to show Paul. Now, that might be good for you, as in that might give you the get up and go and the grit and the warrior attitude, warrior mindset that everybody keeps going on about. Yeah, to be successful. They may be your key performing. They're your key performance ignition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's your nitrous. But then you've got to ask yourself, when you beat Paul, who's next?
Then what happens then? Are you still running? Because they've got to be running on key performing resentment. When you
got it, really.
You're running on resentment.
Yeah. So if you're actually choosing for yourself, if you're choosing for validation, so a little bit of reflection and a deep dive before you do your goals, because and maybe change the language because we're not in sports, that's why I call them intentions or outcomes. What's the outcome you want? And then obviously people tell you, and then I go, why do you want that? Well, I think I would like that, or you think you would like that. So you put a bit of thought into it. But have you really deep dived it and looked at it? Have you gone back into your past and looked at what you've liked? Where was your key performance inspiration in your past?
Freaking hell.
Where was your key performance ignition in your past? Without the drama or the armor of life, where did you feel ignited, inspired, driven, passionate, where you could get up early and stay up late without anybody shouting in your ear?
Wow.
Without doing the cold plunge in the morning to get yourself elevated, where you actually found it hard to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me, I've lived in a life, and you ask my wife, she'll say that, and I mean, we were on holiday only recently, and Dan Goodwin from the US messaged Roz and said, hopefully Lee will have some downtime. And Roz messaged back and said, he ain't got an off button. I haven't got an off button because everything I do is with intention. It wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
So the reason I know the tapestry of it all, or the weave of it all, is because I wanted to prove myself at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to show them. Yeah. So I'm not speaking about anybody else. I'm speaking from the pages of my life. I know my journey.
You went through the key performing ignition yourself.
Yeah. I realised. So I realised, because if I'm living in like everything, this is my language. My language. This is like, as in the way I express. If I'm doing a personal development event or a program or whatever it is, the subconscious code breakers, whatever it is, is my default. And I didn't get these from the pages of a book. A bit like a friend of mine once spoke very good English, wasn't from, didn't speak, it wasn't his native tongue. And I said, how did you learn English so well? He said, I speak English, I learned it from a book. Yeah. And I think it's a brilliant, it's just the way he said it, I laugh because but I didn't learn this from a book. This is my life. So even the stories I tell, the analogies I give, this is my life. I've lived it, breathed it, tasted it, smelled it, felt it. Had those moments where your head feels like it's going to explode.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you get past those and get to a place in your life where you don't get them anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's the key performance indicator, is what do you want in your life? Well, I don't want this. Brilliant. So now we know what we don't want. So if I took it back to the beginning, let's say, sometimes it's very hard to see through what you know, and that can be heard disrespectfully. I don't mean it that way. We've all got our own perception of life, our reality.
To see through what you know.
Yeah, it's very hard to see through what you know.
That's massive.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. It's very hard to see through what you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you imagine in front of us, we got this big window screen. And focus, focus can be a bit like a magnifying glass. I remember when I was a kid, the first time I saw a magnifying glass, I thought it was absolutely amazing. I didn't need it for looking at things that were small. My mate Jonathan, head of night school, he brought a magnifying glass to school. He said, you've got to see this. And he was starting fires with it. Yeah, I thought, cool, that's brilliant. And I thought a magnifying glass was for starting fires. I thought it was like the new match. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. And I went back to my dad and I said to my dad, cool, you want to see this? Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. They're for looking at things. But me, I'd learned that no, they were ignition. So focus sometimes is ignition.
I see.
Depends how you change. Like, yeah. Now, but if you're igniting the wrong thing, then you've actually got the wrong fuel.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you've got the wrong fuel, so then it can stop you from knowing what you want. It can stop you, because if we're out to prove ourselves, proof is because we live on the inside of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
could we say, Lee, that I want to come in here because
that's right. Yeah.
So we have what is our, we could say, key performing emptiness. We really realizing there's much more to this. You got your key performing intentions, ignition, your key performing doubts even. But then, when we get those in order, we then take ourselves, because we need to surround ourselves by key performing people.
Yeah. Yeah, and we do. And you're never going to be successful on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to hear that, whether it's my business and I work on my own and I'm successful. Well, they're very good. But if you didn't have customers
Mm-hmm.
and you were on a desert island, would you have a successful business? No customers, no other population, just you. Can you be successful? No. So it comes back to you can't be successful on your own, whether that be a team or whether that be a customer.
Yeah.
So, and even with a customer, you've got to have your like keen performance intention. You've got to have a good, like, clean intention with them. Because if you are not looking out for your customer, then all it is a task. And if you're task driven, then you're not. Now, business, I would say as well, business is not personal, it's professional.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't involve emotions, yours. You can't get caught up in it. However, you should have the awareness of what your customers' emotions are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Your clients' emotions are doing. Because if we break it down to key performance indicators, a lot of us are in just the thought world or the imagined world, what I can visualize or what I can see or what I can hear or what I can think or what I can say. And that's where a lot of it goes. So if I take it back like this so it's heard, is if I was asked by Ballina Resources, I think they're called, to go and do a talk for young entrepreneurs. And these are like, and this is in the summer when they're off school, yeah. And they asked like a few local successful business people to come in and talk to young entrepreneurs. And it's a little bit more than that. You normally work with the entrepreneurs for a week or two, like a bit of coaching or mentoring or consultancy around an idea they've come up with. So the business owner goes in and does a presentation, so like most with slides, and they tell them a bit about their business, tell them a bit about whatever. That wouldn't be my style. See, I can do slides. I'm quite good with slides, I went over there and I was sitting in a room while the other people went through, and I was the last one to speak. And they said to me, "Is there anything? Have you got your slides, Lee?" I said, "No, I didn't have any slides." "All right, have you got any handouts?" "No, I haven't got any handouts." I said, "All I need is a bottle of water." So he said, "All right." He said, "Well, a jug of water." I said, "Oh no." I said, "Have you got a bottle of water?" "If not," I said, "I've got 20 minutes or so." I said, I said, "The shop's next door." I said, "I'll go down and get it." He said, "Oh no, we get a bottle of water." So we went in. I said, "No, I need a glass." That's it. I said, "If you got a glass, I can get the water next door." He said, "Oh no, we got a bottle of water and a glass." I said, "Brilliant." So I went in and everybody else has spoken. And when these business people have done their talk, the teams pick who they want to work with, and you work with them then. Yeah? So I said to them that, I said, "I haven't got any slides for you." I said, "As far as I'm concerned, you brief for you." I said, "As far as I know, they've all given you a budget, which could be 500 or 1,000 quid." I said, "I ain't got no budget for you. I'm not going to give you anything. But if you want to be the team that wins and succeeds and learns something that will serve you for the rest of your life, pick me." I said, "I come in with a glass and a bottle of water." I said, "Water's amazing, it is." I said, "Watch." I said, "If you look at it in the bowl," I said, "it takes the shape of the bowl. Watch this." And I undone the cap. I said, "Now, if I pour it into a glass, it takes the shape of the glass." I said, "I'm not trying to give you." Yeah, I said, "You're water to me." I said, "I'm not trying to make you mold into that glass or that bottle." I said, "Everything I will give you will be molded from you. I will teach you to work as a team." And I said, "You'll come up with your own idea." I said, "But I can assure you this, the team that picks me will be the team that wins. And the team that picked me won." You can hear it arrogantly. But if you haven't got an intention of being there,
yeah.
Now, it wasn't a competition. It wasn't I was better than anybody else. I was just telling them, if you want to win, as in, because win, now this is where the language gets a little bit, yeah. Winning is in sports.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you really hear that?
Yeah.
Winning isn't in business. Success is business. Winning is in sports.
Wow.
Climbing a mountain isn't in business. It's in sports. Climbing a ladder is in business, but it's in the building trade or the painting and decorating trade. It's not in business. You have to be careful of our analogies because
wow. we vocabularize ourselves out of success by mashing into our daily conversations.
Well, you've got to fight your way to the top, haven't you? So now we're in the arena of fighting. We're in the boxing, or in the I don't do boxing. I'm a warrior. Oh, we're in the warrior mindset, which means warriors are skilled biology attackers.
Yeah.
Warriors attack. They win. They slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a warrior. Well, I don't think the warrior's that well. I'm in the warrior mindset. Well, do you know what that means? Mm-hmm. It means you're a grunt.
We should never be
fighting. You get it?
It is.
And I don't mean it disrespectfully. If we're intentional, with respect, with empathy, with sincerity, and we're looking out for, because we're just out for ourselves, because that's the problem with winning in business. See, it means you're not out for your customer. You're not out for your team. And you can't have wholesome, you can't have symbiotic, you can't have peace of mind, you can't have unity within minds. Everybody's competing. So it doesn't matter how nice they are in front of you. When you walk out of the room, I mean, if you want a good example of it, Steve Jobs got thrown out of his own company. Steve Jobs got thrown out of Apple. Yeah, oh, they brought him back because he was on the board and they moved him as the CEO. He was voted out because they thought they knew better. Because that's the problem with competition. Yeah. Competition's from the track or on the field. Yeah. What about your competition in the marketplace? There should be no competition in the marketplace. You should be that unique and that good at what you do. In sports terms, you should be like Pele. You should be like Beckham. Mm-hmm. If you want to stand out. If you want to compete in the market, then you've got no USP, no unique superpower. So KPIs are after the fact.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because this is the other bit, see, yeah? So, for instance, intention is future.
Yeah.
Intention is future. Goals are future, but goals imply psychologically, however you justify it, and not debating, a goal, if you got a goal, and it was a goal, comes from sports, and but it's not meant that way, Lee. Yeah, but when you feel that you've got to compete, and bear in mind when there's a goal, there's normally a team, and then there's the opposing team, there's another goal. Yeah. Nobody ever talks about the ball that goes in the goal, which is really
an inanimate object that just wins everything.
Well, that's it. It's the ball. If the ball don't go in the net, and bear in mind when you score a goal, there's normally somebody standing in it to stop you from scoring. Mm-hmm. So, and if we're not conscious human beings, then we should choose our own analogies. We shouldn't go with these. Mm-hmm. Now, it's good language in the marketplace. It sells books. It sells courses. Mindset as opposed to set your mind. Oh, it's just playing on words. Oh, no. I ain't playing on words. I'm very intentional with my language. And some of the language I still haven't worked out. So I'm not. But I've really thought about the language. Why? Because the language is my thinking. So I don't want my thinking calibrated. When I speak it out here in the real world, I'm accountable. It can be recorded, it can be seen, it can be heard, as in seen in video. But I'm not intentional in my thinking. If thoughts are things, like they say, everyone's thoughts are things. The things that they implement. No, thoughts aren't. Thoughts are internal. Words are external. Things are tangible. Thoughts aren't tangible. Mm-hmm. Now, what gives life to a thought? Well, you think the language, the word. No, the tonality as well as the word, the emotion, the energy, the passion, the purpose that's behind it, the drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, I'm so demotivated. What does that mean? In my world, that means their motor's not running at high performance. It's their biology.
Yeah.
I'm under-inspired. It means their spirit's underperforming. It needs a tune-up. Now, if I go to inspire, and that's my intention, and if I go to inspire, and I'm the nitrous for their fuel,
yeah,
then I'm the controlling influence, which means they're not autonomous. They need external forces. And this is the problem, see. For us to be us and to get these KPIs that we want, whatever they are, and whether you agree with me on the languages in goals, if we're not thinking about the thoughts we think, and we're allowing our organic self to put it all together, or we're reading the books and listening to everybody, yeah, and we're trying to make sense of it all, it means we've got no sense of it all. So we're trying to learn so we can earn. Yeah. Now, if I wind it back, I don't spell very well, so I look at words like this. Do you want to be learning, Lee, or do you want to be earning? Well, I want to be earning, so I rub the L out of it. How do you mean you rub the L out of it? Well, I rub the L out of learning to get into earning. I get that I have to learn stuff, but I start with what I've got. I don't put it off into 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. And hear me the right way. I didn't go to school conventionally, but I had I'm good on history and different things like that. I'm not too good at reading and writing. I can write, I can dictate. And nowadays with apps and Google Docs and that, you can just voice type and speak and types it. So I'm really now, before for years, I was blocked. I remember going into a company to do some training for the sales team, and I had to sign in. I could write my own name, but I had to put my address down. I didn't know how to spell some of it. And I'm going back probably 15, 20, about 25 years ago. I couldn't spell my own address because all the stuff gets caught up in my head, yeah? Especially in then that piece where, yeah, you might, I don't know, or people might, hanging off a mountain 1,000 foot in the air wouldn't scare me. Writing my address would scare me properly. I've been like up mountains. Like one of our activities is a leap of faith where they jump out. It's nothing to me. But writing my address would probably be the equivalent of somebody going and doing a keynote speech in front of 1,000 people. Me doing a keynote speech in front of 1,000 people wouldn't bother me. So I'm immune to those types of feelings. But so I'm not saying don't hear it in the big way, don't hear it cocky. I'm trying to give an analogy. Me writing my address was probably the equivalent to somebody else giving a keynote speech in front of like 1,000 people. That's how much it affected me.
Yeah.
Now, then in the end, even with reading a menu, if I was ready to I used to stand in wherever, McDonald's, Burger King, whatever, yeah, or reading a menu in a restaurant, and I couldn't read it. And yeah, I haven't got my glasses with me. Can you read it? Now, I never used to have glasses in them days, so I was lying, trying to hide me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to hear it. So imagine standing in a takeaway, and sometimes people are queued up behind you, and they go, "What do you want?" And now, if I was in a restaurant that I knew, it'd be easier. I'd have the Big Mac and this, that, and the other done. But if I was in somewhere when I had to look, if I was traveling and I pulled up and and you're trying to make sense of this menu, never mind make sense of the road signs. The amount of times I ended up lost and didn't want to get lost. And the point I'm trying to make to you, it's very hard to stand in front of people and go, "Yeah, I don't know how to read or write properly. Can you read the menu to me?" It's very hard to run networking events and be the person that leads the event, and especially in the Zoom world. And you can't read the name. And I say to people in front of 50, 100 people, "I'm sorry, I can't read your name. It starts with R and this and that." "Oh, yeah, me, yeah. Sorry, I'm severe dyslexia." That's the truth, yeah. It's very hard to do that. Nowadays, I can do it like it's nothing to me, like drinking a glass of water. It does not bother me. So hear it the right way. Don't hear it cockily. But it took me a lot of years to get to that place where just because I can't do something or I don't know something doesn't take away from me.
Does that mean then that you've got this key performing personal intentions or key performing belief or values that...
Well, yeah, that could be, and that would be the way to express it. If I took it to the right into the nut, is I work this out, and it's a truth to me. Even if I could read and write perfectly, now I can learn. Now I've probably most people that a person who can read and doesn't has no advantage over a person who can't read and does.
Mm-hmm.
So Nightingale Conant I found years ago. So I listened to loads of audio stuff. What's it called? Audible, all the time. YouTube, so much stuff that you can get if you want to learn. Now I'm learning every day. Every day. I was learning this morning. I love learning. But I won't allow what I don't know get in the way of my intention.
Okay.
So I work this out. This is the truth to me. As true as I breathe, as true as the sun will come up tomorrow. I have not got enough time to learn everything I need to know. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean I should stop learning. When I have the time, I learn. So one, key performance indicator. Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
I need to know wise people in certain sectors of what I'm doing. So if I've got no key performance intention, as in what's my big outcome, and I don't know what that is, then I can't reverse engineer it to know the key players that have the knowledge and wisdom. So I would look at that and I would go, right, I'm going to need to know somebody who knows how to do podcasts. I'm going to need to know somebody who knows how to do this. I'm going to need to know somebody, because I worked out this. Henry Ford wasn't a mechanic. And you got to hear it. Henry Ford was not a panel breaker, a sprayer, a mechanic, an engine builder. Excuse me. None of the above. Henry Ford was a very clever businessman. But all the people, now Henry Ford, supposedly, there was a story, and I can't remember if it was the New York Times or the Washington Post, one of the main papers in America, wrote something quite, because Henry Ford couldn't read or write properly, was uneducated. A lot of them seem to have dyslexia, you know, a bit like Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and that's quite good for us. Edison, yeah. So the point is with it is, and I lost my train of thought, is that when
let me bring you back in also.
Oh, back to Henry Ford, that was it. Let me finish that story and come back. Henry Ford, they wrote in the paper that Henry Ford was uneducated. Mm-hmm. As in he knew nothing, he was a fool really. And Henry Ford took him to court for libel. The prosecution stood up and said to Henry Ford, what was the year the Magna Carta was signed? He said, I don't know. And every question they asked him, even down to like basic spelling, he didn't know. And he said, see, Your Honour, he's a fool, he's stupid. To prove their case, because that's basically what they said about him in the paper. And Henry Ford said, no, I'm not stupid. He said, a wise man is not necessarily a knowledgeable man. A wise man knows how to use the very little he has in a very profound way. He said, I've got a button on my desk. He said, I only need to press the button on my desk. He said, and I can have any expert answer any question you want answered. The point is, you'll never be successful on your own, and you'll never learn everything. And even if you were lucky enough to learn everything, by the time you learn it, there'll be another load of new stuff. So you only need to learn, key performance indicator, learn what you need to know. Yeah, connect with who you need to know. But you can't learn what you need to know and you can't connect with what you need to know if you don't have a key outlined intention. Wow. You must have the end goal in mind. Now, it's not written in stone. That's where I think it scares a lot of people, is they want to put their rudder in and go, right, we're going this way. Pick a better place than where you are now. Pick better feelings than where you are now. And know, well, that's it. I'm just going 18 months ahead. And while I'm on that journey, I'm going to grow. Bear in mind, grow, it's not really the right word, language again. Mm-hmm. Trees grow, kids grow, adults are growing. Yeah. So
I mean,
You got
it's
it.
like there is so much of everyday language we use that actually turns everything we do to a standstill. I mean, listen,
Well, it's a bit like that. I could say so much of everyday language we use.
yeah.
But to me, I don't like using anything. I like utilising stuff.
Wow.
Because no person wants to be used, no network wants to be used, no customer wants to be used.
Yeah.
But I will utilise my network. I will utilise my customers.
Yeah.
Like I expect them to utilise me.
Let me cap here, and in a sense of recap. We've had key performance intentions, key performance ignition. You know, we talked about our fighting, competing, and goals that we use in the language so often is actually the wrong language. I mean, we've also talked about key performing life reflections. But yes, let's come into this one. For me is vague but hugely important, which is your key performing dreams. Everybody talks about dreams, but they like this vague place of, well, a dream is something as a distant imagination, perhaps. You know, how do we bring into our key performing dreams and say, how do we bring that into structure so we can, everything, all the other KPIs or KPs, whatever we're doing, can marry into that dream to make it a reality?
It comes back to language again. And bear in mind, I know what a dream is.
Yeah.
I know what the dream word is utilized to represent, because a dream is something we have when we're asleep. That's what a dream is.
Yeah.
But we're utilizing the word, same as Martin Luther King did. I have a dream. Yeah, that we have a dream. Is it the right word? Will it give us a key performance ignition? I don't think so. We utilize it in language because everybody, that's their way. I mean, if I was selling a product on, say, personal development, yeah, I would have mindset in the copy. I would have to, because I'm writing for the customer. I don't like mindset. I think it's very controlling. Yeah, and some people's minds are so set, they're like concrete. So, I mean, they're coming in and you've got to break their mindset to give them a new one. Comfort zones. I don't like comfort zones. What do you mean you don't like them? Well, they're zones. Why would I zone myself? I know what, yeah. Why would I zone myself? It's like I put myself in this zoo. I'm like, yeah. And I'll throw it this way to you. One of the things that used to really play on my mind, I have this weird thoughts in my head. So not weird as in like strange, but I think about the strangest things. For example, why are there more wildebeest than there are lions? And you might think, well, how's this got anything to do with it? To me, it's got everything to do with it. Why are there more wildebeest than there are lions? When wildebeest only have, on average, one calf. The odd time they can have two, but the majority have one. Where lions can have 3 to 6 to 8 cubs. How come lions birth more? Wildebeest birth less. Wildebeest can't eat lions, but lions can eat wildebeest. Crocodiles can eat wildebeest. Yeah. Other animals can eat wildebeest, but very few animals would eat a lion. So how come lions eat wildebeest? Lions produce more lions than wildebeest do, but there's more wildebeest than lions. See, that's why, yeah, so my head has to think about that, see, when you look at it, because I like problems like that, see? So, and it actually comes into this problem, I think. So you think, well, how is this, see? Well, what happens is, see, and this is the problem with goals and competition and KPIs, because if the KPIs are wholesome and sincere and genuine, and you're actually solving a real world problem rather than just trying to put some money under your mattress, and you're actually, you're getting paid well to make other people's lives better, whether that be easier, yeah, happier, whatever, as long as you're getting paid in that market and you're not competing, you're not trying to beat somebody else down, and that's more corporate language. Bear in mind, corporate language comes from the word corporation, and corporation comes from the word beginnings of the word courts.
Oh, wow.
The corporation is all in block capitals. The only time your name appears on a headstone is in block capitals or a birth certificate. So any time your name appears in block capitals, it's representing you as a legal entity, what they call a straw man, a legal fiction, because your block capital name isn't you. It's a legal fiction.
Oh, wow. I
The
see.
living man or woman existed without the birth certificate. But let's go back to when we look at language, a bit like if we're just doing it for currency, for cash flow, you've got to hear that one. See, there's a problem with language. Current of the sea, currency, cash flow, water language, multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income. We've got to hook our clients and get them on board. Water language.
Yeah.
How many sales do you want? And we spell it differently, but it actually comes from, supposedly for the Portuguese and Spanish, how many sales on the ship meant how much produce you had to deliver. So that's why we call it sales, when it's to sell.
Yeah.
And when our core performance indicators are in sales, we sometimes leave our humanity behind because we've got targets to hit. Warrior targets. We've got a target to hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to hear it. You got to hear it. Yeah. They ain't got like an outcome. It's normally money based, and all the time it's money based. Nothing wrong with money. I like money, but it's a tool. It's a hammer. It's a chisel. It's a saw. It's not the end goal. So if we're not choosing from our feelings, and we're not recognizing other people's feelings, then what can happen is we can lose our intention. And our intention is our purpose. Yeah. And if we just go the other way, our intention gives us our purpose. And if we have got no intention and no purpose, we've killed our dream.
Wow.
So when we look at it, if it's a dream, then we have to bring it into reality. How do we bring it into reality? A bit like we said before, the vision board. Yeah. Having goals written down is organising and getting them outside of you, because a dream is inside of you. There's inside language, there's outside language. There's past language, regret, remorse, guilt. And there's future language, intention, goals, dreams. The dreams can cross-pollinate between the two. So if we're choosing to do something in the future, we have to have, our language should be visual, as well as sort of scientific, structured, logical. Because if it's not visual language, what do I mean by visual language? So a lot of people talk about brand, like, let's say, McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's doesn't exist. And it does exist, Lee. No, it doesn't exist. There's no human life for McDonald's. Nike, well, there's no human being called McDonald's.
Wow.
McDonald's, you can see the buildings, but the corporation is dead. There's no living life to it. There's no breath, no heartbeat. So any brand that just has a corporation brand does not exist in hearts and minds. They might be able to see it, but there's no living life form to produce it. So in Microsoft, that's the brand. That's the brand for the corporation. Then Bill Gates is the personal brand, the life form that represents it. Steve Jobs, Apple, but Apple is a corporate entity. So we have to be careful, because some language is dead, doesn't exist in real world. If corporations didn't exist, the language wouldn't exist. So
trying to process that.
Right. So cow exists, tree exists, river exists, boat exists. Yeah. All of these things, whether they existed and were God or evolution made them, or whether a human made them, this pen exists. But when we pick if it's a dream, it has to be related to a human entity. Otherwise, it's dead to us.
Yes.
So if it's money, is dead to us. It's a tool. We can see it, we can touch it, we can feel it. It feels, but it's not alive. Has no life. Only has the life from the emotions we attach to it. So if we make money the goal, as in that's our dream to be a millionaire, we haven't really got a dream. We're just stockpiling.
Wow, Lee, wait, that was massive. That was a huge, huge enlightening moment for so many people that are going to be watching this. You're absolutely right. So many people are making the energy of money, which effectively is the dead tool, being the trying to pull energy from that in order to make that our goal, our fight, or our what we're competing against. So it's all creating that dead momentum.
And your body, your subconscious, as some would call it, I wouldn't call it the subconscious, but that's another story, is you cannot be attached to it. There's no intention behind money. There's the intention behind what money will do for you. So someone say, I want to be a millionaire. Why do you want to be a millionaire? Why do you, personal question, want to be a millionaire? Well, I want a big corporate brand. Why do you want a big corporate brand? Because I want to be a millionaire, and you're in this loop. But why do you want to be a millionaire and be a big corporate brand? Because I want to be happy. Right. I want to be loved. I want to be successful. But successful in what way? Because successful in business to successful in life, you think are different. But most times people want to be, not all times, not science, but a lot of times people go on the journey of success because they can't be told what to do.
I've been there.
Right, me too.
It took me to burnout. It's a bad place to be.
Can't be told what to do because it's very controlling.
Yeah.
Because they're asking us to do task subjects or task actions, and our being, our life form, our spirit, our joy is not connected because the task is dead.
Wow. So frustratingly true.
And hear it, you can hear it in the competition way. It took me years to work that out because I couldn't work out why when I decided I was going to do X.
Yeah.
And that was what, and I'm intentional, mate. I mean, I'm like a train. I'm a wrecking ball, yeah? It don't matter what's in my way. I won't walk over people to put people down, but don't stand in my way. Don't tell me I can't. Don't let your opinions and beliefs think they're going to control me and expect me to go, okay, I can't do that. Appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Appreciate you sharing your opinion, which means you took a thought, put a bit of reason to it, judged me, and now you've decided on my future. My future's mine. Nothing to do with you. Keep your grubby little thoughts off of my future.
Wow, my future's mine. That's so
yes, no, not any now. With Roz's, my future is part of Roz's, and Roz's future is part of mine because we're in a relationship. My kids, I will look out for their future. But for my kids to have the future they want, I need to sometimes sit back. Sometimes my son, Tom, was going to go to the UK because life had thrown him a curveball. And I said to him, and there was loads of chats, he even had a going away party. Yeah, and Ross was a bit upset about it. Now, I wasn't worried about going to the UK if that's what he wanted to do, and that was going to give him some intention and help him, yeah. But it was a form of medication. So I waited. I didn't get caught up in the conversations until about 3 or 4 days he was going. And I said, Tom, and bear in mind, I'm on about a grown man. I'm not about a kid. I said, Tom, and he said, yeah. I said, oh, here you're going to the UK. I hadn't spoke to him about it. He knew I knew, but he said, yeah. I said, you're not in a place to make that decision at the minute, mate. So you don't make life-changing decisions when you're not standing up in life.
Wow.
So I said, and because of that, and because of I'm your dad and I love you, I said, you're not going to England. When you're stood up on the inside and you got the reins of life again, go where you like. Go to Timbuktu, don't bother me. I'm not trying to stop you. My job's to serve you. At the minute, you ain't holding the reins. I've got them. Relax. When you're ready, you can have them back. But life's throwing you a curveball. It's hit you right up under the guts. Yeah, I said, you need to get your breath back. So if I wind it all back this way, because I know we got to go, imagine saying to a 17-year-old, what do you want? Yeah, because most people, what subjects do you want to do? I don't know. Oh, and it's quite, you think, yeah, so, and well, what subjects? And then you've got this list to choose from, like they've already given you the menu of life. And if you don't choose one of them, you're a fool, you're stupid, you won't get the score. Nothing wrong. I'm not putting anything down, I'm just saying as it is. Rather than What would you like your life to be like? How do you mean, Dad? Well, do you want to live in a small house or a big house? I want to live in a big house. Why do you want a big house? Because I want a big family. Why do you want a small house? Because I want a small family. Personal. You've got to pick your dreams from the personal. So let's say you want a big house. How big? Well, I'd like 5 bedrooms. Okay, 5 bedrooms. Want any land around it? Yeah. Where would you like it to be? Well, I'd like it to be close to us, like you and Mum and all that, and the kids and that. As in my brothers and sisters. Okay. So a place in the country. How many acres? Well, I don't want a lot of acres. I just want, a bit of land around me so people like in my backyard. 5 or 6 acres. All right. So you want a 5-bedroom house and 5 or 6 acres. Yeah, brilliant. Bear in mind, talking to a 7-year-old, a 17-year-old. What sort of car do you want to drive? Well, I want to drive, what's that sport? Your BMW, Dad. Okay, you want a BMW. You want an old BMW or do you want something relatively new? Well, I wouldn't buy a brand new one because when you drive off the forecourt, they lose a lot of money. Something 3 or 4 years old. Get better value that way, Dad. Oh, brilliant. I like the way you're thinking. Right. So, do you want to have money in your bank or do you want to be worried about your electric bills and the this and that and the other and whatever? No, I want money in the bank. Okay. And how do you want to feel? Do you want to be happy or sad? I want to be happy. How happy? 0 being that you're not really happy, but you're not sad. How happy? 10 being, the best you've ever felt. Yeah. Well, because you're 17, the best you've ever felt up to now is not your best. The happiest moments in your life, they were only with practice. They were only a sample of what happiness can be.
Yeah.
So let's say that's a 3. But if you got a 3, would you be really happy? Oh, yeah. Well, let's imagine that there's much more than a 3. We're 3's where we're going because that's way below average. I mean, you can hit way below average any day of the week, can't you? Yeah, of course you can. Right, okay. So we want a minimum of a 3 of happiness, which means we've eliminated all the sadness. Do you want to feel proud of yourself? Yeah, how proud? Do you remember the time you scored the touchdown for the team and they lift you up on the shoulders? Yeah, that proud? Yeah. Let's call that a 3. Yeah?
Yeah.
How inspired do you want to be? How respected do you want to be? How loving do you want to be? How caring do you want to be? How supportive do you want to be? Right. Now we know what you want, and that's what YOU wants. Let's put a plan into action for you to get it.
Wow.
Now they know what they want, and they know all the living feelings they're going to have, and they also got an awareness. Which, the people you want around you, like your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, your kids, do you want them to be happy? Or do you want them to sacrifice their happiness for you to be happy? No, I want them to be happy too. Well, brilliant. So what are we going to do to ensure that they're happy? Well, that's what I want a big home. Okay. Now, are we going to have all these out the gate? No. So now when we're back to picking your subjects, what subjects on here do you think will help you get there?
Wow. Now you just brought that right back around. That was just amazing. Wow, Lee.
And that's the point. When they choose, but when they're just task-driven, it's dead to them, which means, hear it, they won't knuckle down and do their homework because there's no commitment. There's no commitment, K. There's no commitment, which means there's no performance because there's no intention.
Wow.
Commitment is C, isn't it? Commitment C. Yeah, I'm thinking K in my head.
K. We want to put a K in there, make it a commitment with a K because it works.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
It's a bit like Kelly with an I. Yeah. Yeah, I've had people say that to me. It's Kelly with an I. I say, oh, it's Lee with an L.
But Lee, that there scenario will fit everybody. It's like
that's the point. I mean, exactly. That's the point. But if we're focused on dead stuff and don't I want the biggest company. Yeah, you can't really put that into life. Yeah, you can put the life into the company. Yeah. But the company's dead. It's a piece of paper. It's a number on a sheet. It's a certificate. That's all the company is. It's dead. It will never breathe. What will breathe is your kids, your partners, your lovers, you. And if you're killing your performance because you've got no intention, then you're feeling like it's overwhelming. Now, bear in mind, you've got habits and all the interactions and thoughts that go on. And in real time, you could be in that place. It's easy to get out of it, but it might take you a couple of months. But how you do it is you have to write your intentions. And then to get clarity is, what am I doing? Is that consistent with what I want? No. Then what do I need to change? Oh, but I can't change. Oh, who's taking your power away? What's taking your power away? What thought? What person? So when we put it all down on a sheet of paper, or a good coach, good mentor, good consultant. But I put a post up this morning, and my basic language, it took me years, to find these bits. Who breathes for you? Who thinks for you? Who decides for you? Whose heart pumps in your chest? If it isn't yours, then whose? If you're not in control, then who is? Each one of us breathes for ourselves. We can be toxic by saying, Paul's toxic. Oh, you got to hear that one. And that's a bit by the colour of the clip around the ear. He's toxic, he's toxic, he's toxic. But the person you're calling toxic, I bet's not going, you're toxic, you're toxic, you're toxic. Stop blaming, shaming and guilting everybody else to hold you in the position for where you are. Where you are is where you are. If you say it's his or her fault, now there's loads of circumstances in life. If you're being beaten or mistreated, I've been there. Yeah, so there's loads of different. But if none of that's happening, and even if it is, there's ways out of that. But if none of that's happening, look on the inside of you. And bear in mind, well, you see how he's showing up? Yeah, but how many times have you called him toxic? Or how many times have you called him toxic for him to show up that way? So many different variables. Pause on the inside for a minute. Stop blaming, shaming, even if they're doing it. They could be reacting to you. Pause for a minute. But a time out. Yeah, time out. How long for? A couple of weeks. Let Paul do what Paul does here. Time out on the inside. Reflect. Make a few notes. Pick your intentions. Know what you want. Don't expect Paul to change. Paul, you've got to change because I've got a dream. And if you don't want to sign up for the dream, we're finished. I mean, that's how some people go for their dreams. You can't get yourself in order and then go and throw out the person that supported you to get to where you are.
I love it.
Yeah, because I've seen that happen so many times. Anyway, I think we're at the end, aren't we?
This has been such an amazing, another amazing deep dive again. I love we've gone through the KPIs.
Can I share these with you quickly?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. And these are just notes I've written down. Well, I sent them to Roz. They've got scribbles on them. One of the kids has scribbled on them. But it says, and these are just notes. These are things I've been thinking about doing. Be real, true, sincere, and honourable. Stop overthinking and start planning. Stop daydreaming and start doing. Talk is cheap unless you've done the research. Plan your business better than you would plan your holiday because it's your business that's going to pay for your holiday.
Wow.
Stop listening to people that don't know and start listening to people that do. Strategy isn't thinking. It's planning, it's knowing the market. Don't speak in jargon. Speak as if a 6-year-old could understand you with credibility. Stop thinking about your idea and showcase the future with your idea in it.
Wow.
There's no such thing as free money, so stop asking for it. Investors are not fools. They're clever people. That's why they got the money and you haven't. So they're just notes I've written down.
I love that. Hey, I love that, Lee. And here's what we're going to do, listeners. First of all, I'm going to thank you again for staying with us on right through the series as we continue on. And I'm sure that me and Lee will get together and create, although I'm just going to put this out there, a KPI index. This is going to happen because we more or less touched on that today. Lee has been fantastic, and we're going to need to know what happened, what the numbers were for the lions and the wildebeest on our next.
Oh yeah, well, why it is the lions have a comfort zone, and they control their domain, and they can only control so much of it. The other lion's doing the same.
Yeah.
So if one lion comes into one area, he attacks them or kills them, then he kills their cub and has their lionesses. So when the wildebeest migrate through the lion's kingdom, they're only ever dealing with one small pride at a time. Where if all lions got together and worked together, there'd probably be no wildebeest.
It's so true.
But we're not lions, we're humans with intention, purpose, compassion, empathy, sincerity, honor, integrity. Treat each human not how you would want to be treated yourself, because I can guarantee how you're being treated at the minute is way below standard.
Yeah.
By yourself and by others. You've got to stand up on the inside, my friend.
Absolute, my friend. It's been beautiful, and you know, we are going to continue these brilliant calls. Do subscribe, do like, do love, do comment on our videos, and I say there's plenty more of these to come. Lee, thank you ever so much for your mind again. It's been a fantastic call. Until this time next week, everybody, have an amazing week. Use your keep performing heart and be good. Enjoy you are. It's been, and as Lee would say, breathe for you.